Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, you find yourself as a wizard with special powers, trying to harness the magical power of the Spellstorm. Now you'll be using elements such as fire, water, and earth within your spells, and dealing with the changing weather conditions as you face off against the other wizards. Spellstorm is a tactical deck building game for 1 to 4 players. It takes 30 to 60 minutes to play and is for ages 10 and up and published by Keith Bergen Games. Now this is being crowdfunded right now, so I'm going to show you how it works and I'll see you on the other side. This is a crowdfunding preview, so all the art and components you see here are not final, they're prototypes. To see the most up-to-date art and components, check the link in the description of this video. Now in Spellstorm, at the beginning of the game, you'll get to select one of 8 asymmetrical wizards. Each of them are going to have a different little starting health, but they're also going to have different abilities and some different aspects that you can trigger in spells and such. And here's a look at some of the other ones. You can pause here if you want to look at them in more detail. And some of these wizards even come with their own components or even some other special cards as well. Now once you've selected a wizard, you're going to get a starter deck. Now, this is going to be 8 cards. Everyone starts with those same things, but each wizard is also going to get 2 cards that are specific to them that's going to get mixed in with their starter deck. You're also going to start with a certain amount of health. Now here's where you're going to manage 2 resources, coins, and mana, and you're also going to be managing your storm shards. What you're trying to do in the game is be the first to collect 8 storm shards, or you will force your opponent to lose if you get them all the way down to 0 health. So those are the 2 ways to win. Now I'm going to be showing you the 2-player version, which indeed means if you get your opponent down to 0, you'll win. But there is a way that you could play with multiple players, 3 or 4, and then it's the first one to 8 storm shards, or if you're the last one standing with health. The game is played over multiple rounds, and each round goes through 2 phases, the battle phase and the regroup phase. Now each battle phase is going to go through 4 different rounds. Now what happens first is in the round that you're in, you're going to flip a weather card, and this will change that specific battle. This can go like this, but I'm going to put it like this just so you can read it a little easier. Now this is Crystal Snow. All players gain a mana, and the player with the initiative will gain another one. Remember, you're tracking your mana on your board, and mana is going to be very useful in performing your wizard's ultimate spell, if you will, and we'll go over that later. Now each player has 4 cards of their deck in their hand right now, and each of them are going to place one face down. Once it's there, they're going to reveal them. Now the first thing we do is we check the elements on the card, we see if there's a counter. For example, you'll see that this one is fire, and the opponent played one that was water. Now on the board you'll see this little counter wheel here, and that player played water, and it counters fire. Fire counters earth, and earth counters water. In this case, I played fire, they played water. Water counters fire. So they're going to look at this blast track, and they're going to move the blast pawn 1 towards them. Now this is very important in the game because wherever this is at the end, like if it's on my opponent's side and they're here, they're going to get 1 storm shard at the end of the round. Remember, you only need 8 to win. If they're like here at the end, they'll get 2 storm shards. If they're here, they'll get 2 storm shards and 2 mana. So this is sort of a tug of war for those storm shards, which is one of the victory conditions. Once you check for a counter, you're then going to resolve each card initiative player first. So this we're going to get a mana, and then I could discard another fire card from my hand to deal 1 damage and gain an ash. So let's say we're able to discard that. I would put it in a discard pile, a different fire card. And now let's check this out. First of all, they're going to get a damage, so they'll go down 1 on their health tracker. If they get to 0, I win. And then we're going to gain ash. Now, I haven't shown you this board yet, but this is where you'll be able to buy cards from the Storm deck or the Storm Cloud a little bit later. There's also some special cards that are up here. Ash is the one that we're talking about now. There's also some powerful dragons you'll be able to buy later. But Ash, when you get this, now when you gain a card, it goes right to your hand. Now if you play this, this is going to allow you to buy a card from this row. You must have to pay the cost here. We're going to go over buying this stuff later, but Ash is, it's not a bad card. You play it, you can get a new card. Some of these other special cards are actually cards you don't want, like Poison. If you end up playing in a battle, you lose a gold and a mana, but then you get to get rid of it afterwards by voiding it out of the game. But if it's in your hand at the end of the round, at the end of the battle round, you actually take a damage. This one's like, pick your poison. That's pretty much it, poison, right? Ice isn't a great card either because when you play it, all it does is allow you to draw a card, But if it's in your hand at the end of the round, meaning you held on it and didn't play it, the opponent gets to move up the blast track, which is going to help them get storm shards, which is also bad. So then this player is going to gain a mana, and they're going to gain the initiative, and they're going to draw a card. So now their card is going to be the first one to resolve next round. Now each of you have played a card in the round 1 of the battle, and each of you will be able to draw a card from your deck before you place cards here. Decide which card you want to place in round 2. So next round we'll flip over a weather card, and as you can see, all players gain a gold, they gain a mana, and players with 1 health heal 1. So if you're almost dead, you'll get some extra health. Okay, then both players play your card face down, then they reveal it. And we have water and earth. And earth, down here in the bottom right, does counter water. So this player is also going to be able to move up on this blast track, and they have the initiative, so they get to activate their card first. Now, they're going to be able, if they discard another earth card from their hand, they could draw a card from their hand, and they could essentially buy a card from that spell board and pay the normal cost. Now we played step, which is gain a mana and gain the initiative, and I get to draw an additional card. Now again, each player's going to draw a card from their deck, and they're going to go to round 3, flip the weather. It's Aurora, all players draw a card, and the player with the initiative gives up the initiative. Ouch. Okay, then each player plays a card face down, then you reveal. Okay, they played water, I played fire, so they again get to move up here, and if they ended now, they would get 2 shard tokens. Now they have the initiative because they had just taken it from us from the weather there. Now the frost magic allows them to move this tracker again, and they have to lose the initiative, and the opponent gains an ice card. We talked a little bit about those earlier. Now here it says, if you were countered, take a damage. Ouch, talk about adding insult to injury. They got all the way up on that track and are moving down the health. It's not looking great for us. But we did have a little bit of a plan, because now we can either use our ultimate, or if we have the initiative, we can deal a damage to them. Now, why were they able to counter us so much? Well, they know that Derby is sort of strong in fire. Fire is more about attacking and doing damage, because my ongoing abilities, I'm going to be able to buy fire cards for 1 gold less, so I'll be able to get again easier. And so technically, this wizard might lean into that strategy. They may have thought I was going to be leaning into that strategy, so they play a lot of water cards. Now, the water cards they were playing, those are typically, focusing on getting those storm shards, and then the earth cards typically, are about getting economy and things like that. So there's different strategies depending on the different elemental card that you're playing. So we could spend the 5 mana, which we actually have, and we would gain the initiative. We would gain a gold. Then, if you have at least 5 health, which we do, we deal a damage and we gain a mana. So instead of just doing the 1 damage that we could have done with the other ability on that card, we decided to do the ultimate because we are going to get a mana and it's going to give them a damage. Then everyone's going to draw a card, and then we'll do round 4. The wither is, if you reveal a fire card here, you deal 1 damage unless you are countered. So both players play a card face down, and they reveal, and we see earth versus water. So because of this player thought that they would play fire, so they played this instead, sort of getting into a mind game there. And earth does counter water, so they're going to be able to pull this here, which possibly will take 2 mana away from them at the end of the round if this is where it stays. And then this side has the initiative. So this is one of the special wizard cards, the Derby's card. So gain the initiative, a coin. I could buy something from the storm cloud, paying the normal cost. This is an ongoing ability. Whenever the initiative changes, get this and this. This would have been better to play earlier in the round, but they had other things that they were thinking about. Now here, this allows them, this is Eve's, that wizard's face punch special card. Well, this thing is going to drag it right back. And then the opponent discards a random card. If it's earth, they take a damage. If it was fire, they get that. So they have a lot of fire cards. Let's say they discarded randomly a fire card and then pulls this back. So you can see that is a tug of war. Then players are going to discard the cards in their hand. Some of them might have some discard effects on them, like the opponent gets to move on the blast track. Now, if this card was played on the board in the battle, this does not happen. It only happens if you have not played it. So like this card, I either need to play it on the battlefield and draw a card when it comes up, or keep it in my hand and use the discard ability at the end of the round, which is the opponent moves up. So you don't want to be stuck with the ice because it's going to help your opponent. So you kind of want to play it, but it doesn't do a whole lot of stuff. Just drawing a card isn't great. So it's one of those special cards there. Then all the cards that were played on the board, those go to their respective players' discard piles, and so does the weather. And so now this other player is going to get 2 storm shards. This is going to reset, and the player that did not get this, which is us on the other side, would get the initiative if we don't already have it. Now at this point, if they have 8 storm shards, they win immediately. So you're going to be buying cards here, and so again, some of them are free like this one. So this one costs 2, 1, 3, 4. You got to be able to afford it. If you can, these do a lot of different things, like lose a mana, but if you did, you can activate your ultimate without paying the mana cost. Pretty cool. Draw a card, then move the blast track, get a gold, get a mana, and then do your ultimate. Also very powerful. The flame, all players take a damage. Possibly do your ultimate, and then if you discard this, meaning it's not played, at the end of the round you gain an ash card. This allows you to move the blast track, place 2 ice in an opponent's discard pile, which ice, as we showed you, isn't a great card. And then leap is you moving the blast track, you're gaining the initiative, and you're getting to do your ultimate. Now, if all of these cost things and you couldn't afford it, you'd have to take one of these special cards, even if you don't want to. And once each player has bought one, you're only going to buy 1 card. So let's say 2 of those cards are gone now. The cards that weren't taken get gold. So if you bought these, you need to have the 3 gold first. But when you get this, you also get a gold back, for example. So the cards that are there longer are more advantageous to get because they give you gold with them. And the other ones would get refilled. Now each player is going to draw back up to 4 cards and you're going to start a new round. And again, you keep playing this until one player gets their 8th Storm Shard, or you're the last one standing, meaning the other player or players have lost all their health. Well, there you have Spellstorm, and as I showed in the overview, you're trying to anticipate your opponent and counter with the right element to be the first to 8 Storm Shards, or reducing your opponent's health to 0. Now, if you'd like to see all the most up-to-date art and components and all the different pledge levels available, you can click the link directly below me in the description of this video, and I'm sure that Keith Bergen Games would love your support.